I would like to say a few words on behalf of the OIC. The OIC wanted this morning to participate at the debate. We sent an official request to participate at the debate. However, the format chosen by the chair of the council as well as by the members decided that the debate would be limited only to the members of Security Council as well as to the representatives of both Palestine and Israel. However, we made clear our position to the members of Security Council. The OIC condemns in the strongest terms this act of Israeli piracy in the international waters against peaceful peace lovers navigating on peaceful civilian ships heading towards peaceful land with peaceful material and assistance for peaceful people. The OIC considers this Israeli military piracy act as a flagrant violation of all kinds of international legal instruments, including the Charter of United Nations, the International Maritime Organization's rules, as well as Geneva Conventions provisions. The OIC thinks and considers that Israel should be held accountable for such a horrible crimes perpetrated by the Israeli military forces in the high seas. Israel should release immediately the ships, the activists, as well as the material on board of the ships, and let the ships continue their ways towards Gaza under Israeli siege since 3 years. The OIC considers that Israel has lost its legitimacy and should report to the international community about these crimes and should be held accountable, as I said, for these crimes, including paying compensation for the loss of lives as well as for the loss of materials. We think that Israel has proved once again that it fears peace and it is against peace. Israel did perpetrate this criminal, provocative, and irresponsible act at a very crucial moment where everybody in the international community is trying very hard to relaunch the peace process. Unfortunately, the Israeli government decided differently and decided to kill the last hope for the peace process by doing what they did in the high seas. I am in your hands.
Mr. Ambassador, what do you think this resolution or this statement, if it is passed, will do, since we have tens of resolutions and many statements in the past on behalf of Israel, but they still ignore blatantly all these resolutions and statements. How is this going to help in the Palestinians in Gaza and those, the victims of the atrocity committed last night?
Today's deliberations, I think, are a test for everybody, for all the members of Security Council. Whoever would oppose to the adoption of this presidential statement would join the Israelis in holding the responsibility for not reacting against a crime committed by Israel against civilian people. So the issue today is more clear than what it used to be in the past. Today we have another new element that is being included in the picture, which is Turkey. Turkey has been aggressed today by the Israelis, and we have today the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey who attended the session of the Security Council and who expressed in the strongest terms the Turkish condemnation of this crime. So today we have this Turkish dimension, and nobody could anymore say that the whole issue is about the Palestinians and the Israelis. The Israeli government decided by its own will today to widen its front of aggression by attacking the Turkish ships and by violating all its commitments in accordance with the international legitimacy resolutions, as well as vis-à-vis the Charter's provisions.
Mr. Ambassador? I have a question, yes. Security Council Resolution 1860 was passed January 8th, 2009. That's over a year and many months ago. And yet there's been very little action on it. When it was passed, there was an emergency session that Father Brockman had called that was to go into effect if there was a veto on it. And the U.S. abstained. It did not veto. Since then, there was once an emergency session called in a different situation. But I wondered, since this has seemed to be blocked all along until now, and Gaza borders remains closed, do you see the need again for such an emergency session? And is there some way to open up this process, because it seems that the Security Council does get blocked?
This is a very good question. I think that the Israelis profited greatly from the reluctance and hesitation of some influential members in the Security Council who used to protect the Israeli exceptions to the rules by threatening or by using their veto power. So the whole problem relies in the fact that if these influential members in the Security Council continue to do so, that means they are encouraging the Israelis to go ahead in their escalation, in their criminal escalations against everybody in the international arena. So everybody should be on board today by sending a clear-cut message to the Israeli government that enough is enough, they went too far, and it's time to be accountable for this, for their actions and acts outside of the international legitimacy.